Today's video is about an HECM, a HECM, or a home equity conversion mortgage planning in retirement. Now, a lot of people don't really know what the HECM is, or if they've heard of it, they automatically assume that it's just like a reverse mortgage. If you think about those Tom Selleck commercials from years ago, and you could lose your house and all that stuff. That's not exactly what a HECM is, and they're way different than that. And I think it's something that most people or anyone should at least be aware of what a HECM is and how it's different than a reverse mortgage. It's not at all. I went into the first video as I was learning about what this was, and I thought, nah, this isn't something I'm interested in at all. But the more I learn, particularly from a professor of economics, I think he is from Princeton University, who is a retirement expert, he actually kind of changed my thinking on what a HECM is and how you might be able to utilize it in retirement. And for me, particularly as it states there, how you can avoid sequence of risk return issues with a HECM. Let me talk about what that means here. So first of all, what is it? It's a supplement. You can use it to supplement early retirement income. And what's interesting about that, as I talk more about this, is if you're familiar with sequence of risk return, if the year or the early years you want to retire, if the stock market happens to have bad years, if you've got your money in a 401k, you can very likely take a significant hit to that 401k's value and never, ever, ever recover from it. And all you need to do is look back to the recession in 2008 to see people that affected. So what interests me about a HECM is how I can utilize that or maybe utilize that to help optimize my retirement income by basically delaying my Social Security until age whatever. I don't know if it's 70 for me or not, but at least I want to know, as I said at the outset, that maybe there's a way to delay that by utilizing a HECM early in retirement, so at age 62. That allows you to not only let your Social Security grow in the amount that you'd get, right? The percent that it grows every year and then goes up to 124 at age 70, if you could even get that far. It allows you to delay that and get a larger Social Security amount monthly, but it also allows you to not even touch your 401k, especially if it's bad years where the returns are negative, so you don't have to get into the principal of your 401k. You can just let it set or tap that HECM in those years so you don't have to sell off assets in your 401k. It offers what's really interesting also about a HECM is it offers a line of credit that whether you use it or not, it will grow at a given rate every year designed to be in sync with the increase in value of your house. So your line of credit grows whether you use it or not, which is a great benefit as well. And of course, there I put make sure you get with a financial advisor or learn more about it before just listening to somebody like me who's just talking about it and feels like it's something really interesting to consider in retirement. So the part of it, a lot of people get HECMs from what I understand. They use them to do whatever, take trips, buy an RV, whatever it is, just live off the money. That's really, in my mind, not a good plan to go into using a HECM into retirement. I'm primarily interested in the idea of avoiding sequence of returns risk. So if you're not familiar with that, sequence of returns risk, that's the danger of receiving lower and negative returns early in retirement, like I mentioned on the last slide there. And by using the HECM, you can mitigate that risk by getting another income stream, frankly, off the value of your house. And what's really neat about it is I'll talk about it more a little bit, but it's a non-recourse loan, which means you never ever have to leave your house. If things go south and tank on you really badly, you don't have to pay the loan back. You don't have to worry about having your house taken away from you or foreclosed ever. You're tired the rest of your life with some certain conditions. You got to pay the mortgage insurance. You have to upkeep it. You got to keep regular. You have to keep regular house insurance on it. You got to keep the house in good repair. But in any case, for where I'm at right now, it helps you avoid that sequence of returns risk, which is a huge deal or can be a huge deal. So if it's a bad year, like I said earlier, you tap into the HECM instead of drawing off cutting into the meat of your 401k. Great benefit to doing that. So it allows your investments to continually grow and maybe give them a chance to recover from market downturns. So the years that are really bad. And as I mentioned earlier, the line of credit can be used strategically during those market downturns. So use it then if you want. By avoiding or selling those assets at a loss, it can help preserve your retirement savings, obviously. So I'm really thinking this. I'm making this part of my plan. It's kind of like my ripcord, my parachute. If when I retire, so I plan on stepping back at 59 and a half, and I consult, so I can just do some part-time work when I feel like it. My wife will work part-time in nursing, primarily to keep our health insurance. But as we plan to step back at that point, and we live pretty cheaply. So then at 62, when we really want to step back and not work anymore, the idea is then do we draw from the HECM on the value of our house, delay Social Security because we won't really need it until whenever, 65 or 67. That seems like a really great way, especially if sequence of returns risk is at play here. So if it's 62, then the market tanks for whatever reason, or 63 or whatever, have the HECM in place so that we can draw from that to avoid getting into our 401ks. That's the idea, and to give them a chance to recover from that. Just like in 2008, it took several years to get the market to return. So the people that had all their money in their 401k, some of them, that it just tanked them for life. They could never return. If you do Monte Carlo simulations on those situations, it'll just tank you. It'll absolutely destroy your retirement. So having this as a fail safe, at least, is really something I think most people going into retirement ought to at least know about. And the reason I say know about it at retirement or even earlier is that I think it's advantageous to get it set up whether you want to use it or not. You don't have to take it. Just set it up and have it there, and that line of credit should increase with the value of your house every year. So you're going to have an increasing line of credit to pull when you need it. And in my case, in those years with the market, when the market tanks. So you want to think about it before you're 62 as an option because the earlier you can get that line of credit set up, the better off you are. I hope that makes sense. So pros and cons to it. They offer greater flexibility than traditional reverse mortgages. It's a non-recourse loan. You don't have to ever pay it back. You can live in your house forever, all the way until you die. You could take all the money out in your line of credit, never pay it back, and then when you die or when you pass away, then your kids can either decide if they want to keep the house, which I don't know why anyone would want to do that, they can do that, or they get whatever's left out of in your inheritance to them of whatever you didn't use in the line of credit, then they'd get, if that makes sense. So you're basically getting the value of your house with no worry of being thrown out of your house ever if you need it. So if some things go really bad, it's just a benefit to me in my mind to know the HECM exists. That does have upfront cost. The main thing is that mortgage insurance premium. It could be $8,000 to $10,000 or more, depending on the value of your house, right? It's going to cost more. That's the price you pay to get into it. I've done the math on it for myself, and it's sure worth it, I think, to at least have it set up and ready to go for that line of credit. You don't ever have to pay it back as long as you're living in the home. If you have to sell it, or if you sell at some point, or you die, that's when the money comes due. So depending on the value of your house, even if your house value tanked for whatever reason in a bad market, and you owe more than the house is worth, it doesn't matter. The value of the house is all they take. There's nothing else that the bank would go after at that point. It's really a unique loan that was set up for retirees. And if you think about all that, and again, just don't go off what I'm saying about it. I'm just learning about it, but it seems like it's really something I want to make part of my retirement ripcord plan in case things go really bad with the stock market early in retirement. The HECM accrues over time. It's paid back when loans due. I stated that earlier. It can affect eligibility for Medicaid and other needs-based programs. So, whoops, you may want to think about that if you're researching this. And as I mentioned earlier, it's a non-recourse loan. What I would do is tell you there's a couple of people out there on YouTube that are really experts in this area, and the one I like to really watch all of his information on and videos is Wade Pfau. He's really an expert. He's a Princeton graduate in economics, brilliant guy. Works for like the Retirement College of Pennsylvania or something like that, but he's an expert and he knows a lot about HECMs. I would have never thought about them or gave these credence unless I saw, I mean, gosh, an economics professor, PhD from Princeton is talking about them. So that made me really take a close look at him. He really does emphasize their role in mitigating sequence of returns risk. He highlights the flexibility of HECM in providing income and preserving investments, just like I mentioned. And he's got tools on his website that you can that you could research too, on his personal website that talks about them and the podcast that he does. And I really recommend at least taking a look at it. You may decide not to do it, but I think it's really advantageous for you to at least educate yourself on them. Set aside what you know about reverse mortgages before 62. It's a different game. This is at 62, designed for retirees, and it has a lot of different advantages to consider that you need to know about, in my opinion, going into retirement. If you watch this video all the way through, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that this information, at least arming yourself with it, is beneficial for you. Thank you, and have a great day.